Okay, scratch that. We got this guy as well, but I love this guy. I love smash burgers. Anyways, let's stop that. Let's jump into the video. Oh yeah, boiling oil thing, yeah.
So boiling oil didn't happen. Sorry. I mean, you can just throw boiling water. Hi, my name is Roko Nijendijk. I'm a lecturer in ancient history at the University of Oxford. I'm an expert in ancient warfare, and I'm here to talk to you today about pre-modern warfare in modern movies.
Okay, let's go. 300.
So this is the supposed Greek concept of othismos, which it literally means pushing. And about 100 years ago, a scholar in Oxford who clearly had rugby on his mind decided that this should be conceived as a literal mass shoving. We have no evidence of that. Nobody ever says that that's the case. But for some reason, this really caught on. And so for the last 100 years, it's been controversial. But generally speaking, I mean, people didn't want to fight like that. Spears are right in your face. So
Yeah, not to mention Greek spears and Macedonian spears were extremely long. So if the enemy gets in contact with your shield, that's a problem, right? If you take a moment to think about that, it shouldn't happen. They shouldn't get to you. They will. That's why you have the shield and the armor. But in theory, you want to keep them at distance and keep spearing them to death.
There's a lot of reasons to want to avoid this.
Yeah.
So this moment where they switch from fighting in formation to going after individuals who are still resisting, that seemed very realistic for most of these fights. Make sure you can kill as many of them as possible, because that's when they're vulnerable. That's when they're not fighting back. So that's when you can just sort of spear them in the back.
Yeah. If it's a moment of retreat, I would agree. I don't think that was a moment of retreat in the movie, if I remember correctly. But generally, I agree.
And that's exactly what happens in this scene. It's only very much later in Spartan history where they say we don't chase the fleeing enemy, because if you chase the enemy, then you're caught out of formation, you become vulnerable. But at this time, in the time of the Persian Wars, the Spartans had no rules against this. And indeed, it's a true story. You can't really dispute that. But in sense of the tactics and the weapons, it feels like a fantasy movie. Maybe 3 or 4 out of 10.
Well, it is a fantasy movie. To be fair, this movie was based on a comics. So it is a fantasy movie. I'm surprised that it didn't say that, but they're wearing nothing. They're fighting almost naked and to show their bodybuilder physique, not to mention the helmets look horrible. But yeah, that was not the thing. Spartans were professional, and therefore they were the most armored of all the Greeks. If anything, we should see them clad in bronze and linothorax and spolas and all of those different variations and in-betweens with the scales. Yeah, they should be clad in armor. That's the fantasy element in reality. Well, this is fantasy, so it's elves. And orcs.
If the old man's in range, why isn't everybody shooting? They're making all these people on the walls hold their arrow for a really long time.
Yeah, that pisses me off too. I agree with this historian here. When it comes to war bows, holding it is insane. Particularly if it's like longbow level, like Mary Rose 15th century 120 pounds long war bow level. At that point, you can't do that. Yeah, it's no. Also because those bows, to really maximize the penetrative power and distance and range sometimes, although then again they are often used in close distance too, but you have to pull them all the way back to your ear. And medieval archers had been training since they were children. They absolutely could. But holding it like this, it's stupid. He's absolutely right. With that being said, the fact that one tries a sniper shot and succeeds in hitting an enemy in the face does have historically happens. Sometimes, even if they're not yet engaged in actual combat, an archer, if he's a good shot, could try a single shot because maybe the opponents don't think that they are in range, or maybe they don't think they are in danger. And so maybe someone of importance has a visor up. I think you know where I'm going with this. Henry V. And so a single shot from an archer that tries and then succeeds to hit them in the face, absolutely historical.